Welcome to the Creative Souls Mosaic section. In this section, we have so many fun projects to choose from. We have different coasters, so many fun shapes, and picture frames. In this video, you will be learning how to design your mosaic, cut your mosaic tiles safely, and grout your final piece. When you get back to your seat, you should make sure to have a tray, your piece of choice, your mosaic tiles of choice, your glass cutters, your safety goggles, and your glue. But wait, before we begin, your final piece will either be grouted like the one shown here or ungrouted like this one showed here. If you are doing an ungrouted final piece, then you will have to apply your paint now before your mosaic tiles. The designing process will begin shortly, but first I will show you how to safely cut your mosaic tiles. You're going to place the tile in between the two blades of the glass cutters like so. Then, when you apply the pressure like you would a pair of scissors, you're going to cup it in your palm. We cup the end in our palm to keep the shards of mosaic tile from flying upon the initial cut. We do this to not only keep ourselves, but the other creators in the studio safe. Where you place the blades of the glass cutter on your mosaic tile does actually matter. If you put the glass cutters in the center of the mosaic tile, you will get a straighter cut, but a less easily controlled one. If you want one that is easily controlled and you know which direction the cut will go in, you're going to put the glass cutters at the edge of your mosaic tile. If you want to round out the corner of a mosaic tile, you do what I'm doing here and you cut slow, small cuts along the edge until it's similar to a circle shape. Now onto the actual designing process. You should start by designing your focal point first. In my case, it is the flower, and then placing the pieces around that so that you do not run out of room throughout the process. Once you are happy with your piece, you may begin gluing. I like to put the glue directly onto the wooden background and place my pieces within it. Because of this, a tactic I like to use is replacing my design on the table next to it so that when I put them back in the glue, I know exactly how they were. Another option is putting the glue directly on the back of each tile individually and then placing them down. You will know your piece is all glued when none of the pieces fall off when flipping it over. Now we wait 15 minutes for the glue to dry. As briefly touched upon earlier, there are 4 different options when it comes to grouting. You can either grout, not grout, pay an additional fee to get it grouted by a studio member, or grout your piece at home. If you will not be grouting your piece yourself, then you may stop watching the video now. If you are grouting by yourself, keep watching. After 15 minutes have passed, it is time to grab our grout kit. Within the kit, you will find a pair of gloves, an industrial paper towel, popsicle sticks, a sponge, and of course, grout. We have 2 options for grout, black and white. However, if you are in studio and would like gray, that is also an option. We will mix up the color and then we are ready to make our grout. If you remember one thing from this video, it's to make sure to add your water slowly into the grout. Much like in baking, we can always add more water, but we cannot take the water out once it has been added to our grout. This is why our goal is to make sure we get a crumbly consistency first, so that then we may add the rest of our water in drop by drop. It should be a peanut butter type consistency as seen here when you are done. You will know you added too much water if your consistency looks more like this. Now we may begin the application process, and do not be afraid to get messy. It's ideal to use your fingers to apply the grout so that you may push it in between the cracks of your mosaic tiles. The purpose of grout is to have a clean and smooth finish. This is why we rub the grout in a circular motion so that air pockets will reveal themselves and we may fill them. For pieces that do not have a defined border like this coaster does, you may go up and around the edge to ensure that the edges are also filled, just like the cracks on the surface of the mosaic. Similarly, with pieces like this butterfly that have odd spaces that your fingers may not fit in, you may go in with your popsicle stick to remove the excess grout before it dries. After letting your piece semi-dry for about 15 minutes, you may now go in with your industrial paper towel to remove the excess grout. Excess grout should flake right off, and the purpose of this point in the process is to make sure that all your mosaic tiles can be seen. You're going to want to remove the excess grout with firm but gentle circles. The purpose of this step is not only to make sure that all of your mosaic tiles can be seen, but also to maintain the integrity of the border shape for those with undefined edges. Another way to use the paper towel is by placing it like so in between those odd edges that we use the popsicle stick for, and removing the grout by sliding the paper towel through those crevices. If you do not thoroughly uncover each mosaic tile, then you may end up with a piece like this, with an unsmooth finish and still some hidden tiles within the grout. Grout leaves behind a film of dust when it is done drying. This is why our final step is going to be a quick swipe over of a damp sponge. It is crucial that your sponge is only damp and not wet. This is because grout is water soluble. This means that if your piece is not completely dry or your sponge is too wet, it may re-wet the grout, causing it to smudge your final piece. You're going to want to do as long of swipes as possible and pick up your sponge as little as possible. You also will want to make sure that you're only using the clean side of your sponge when rubbing it over the top of your piece. And that is it! You are now ready to create a mosaic of your very own. Thank you so much for watching this video. Happy creating!